Hello and welcome to today's Here's to Your Health podcast. I'm your host, Don Linsman. My guest on the podcast today is Matt Foster. Matt is the superintendent on the construction project here at Crawford County Memorial Hospital. And Matt, thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thanks.
As you can hear in the back, we've got big equipment rolling around outside. Before we actually get into some additional information on the project, Matt, let's talk a little bit about Graham Construction, who is the construction manager at risk for this project.
Yep, so Graham Construction, we specialize in we specialize in building relationships. That's our core purpose. So that is our main goal. That's our whole purpose of doing what we do. Obviously, there's making money. That's kind of a side effect of what we do. So I've been with Graham for 2 years, and as soon as I signed on with Graham, I knew it was a good fit. We have our core processes, our core values. Those are the main part of Graham. That's what we're all built around. So construction is just a benefit to us.
And what people have to understand, I think, is that Graham does lots of different kinds of construction projects, whether that's a bank or a school or whatever else it might happen to be, but you really do a tremendous amount of work for Iowa hospitals.
Right, yeah. Hospitals, we do hospitals, higher education, we aren't searching out low bid type work. We don't have to want to fight, or we want people to want us, and we want those people that we work with, so.
Yeah, Graham actually was the general contractor who helped us build the replacement hospital back in 2010, opened in 2011. So it's great to have you back, and we're looking forward to a great project together.
Thanks.
So we've just started out, and actually we cleared our first hurdle this week, and that is the installation of the new sanitary sewer line that will go to the clinic expansion. Let's talk just a little bit about that before we move on to the next thing.
Yeah, so we first started out, we had to close the north parking lot because our sanitary for the new expansion or addition comes out that way. So we closed that parking lot, tore the concrete out there, dug down, got our sanitary structure in, pipe ran across there, and the plan was to do that, backfill it, get rock back in there, open that back up, and then move to the south side of that, where we would close down that, drive, you'd say, and do the same process. Dig down, install the sanitary line, fill back in, and we can open both of those back up.
And that's done. I mean, that's the good part. What people will notice when they drive through the parking or the drive up to the main North Hospital entrance is that there's still a gravel in those trenches. And I think the plan at some point in the future will be to put concrete back.
Yes, that's the plan. Once we get the concrete company out here, we'll get that dug up, and we'll phase that again to where we'll do the north, pour that, shut it down, pour that, let that set, cure, and then we'll open that back up, and then we'll do the south drive.
My guest on the podcast today is Matt Foster. Matt is the superintendent from Graham Construction, working on the construction project here at CCMH, the expansion of our clinic and the remodeling of our rehab services area and the installation of a new private registration base. And so now that the sewer line's been installed, now we're a little bit on the destruction side of what's going on. So let's talk about what the projects that we currently have underway.
So right now we're tearing out all the paving, the existing paving where the new addition's going to go. So we have to get all of that out, get everything graded, get the footings dug, and then start installing footings for the new addition.
And that the footing part of this, okay, so that's going to be part of the construction rather than the destruction.
Yeah,
so that's going to be one of the next big things that's going to happen. And again, people will notice it on the north drive because of the need for us to go over and dig footings outside the rehab services area.
Yes, yeah. So we'll have to shut that drive down again to do the little physical therapy infill, where we're going to make that a usable, occupiable space. But before that, on the destruction, we are getting ready to tear the canopy down, which should be exciting.
And from what I understand, it'll happen momentarily. I guess we'll see whether or not that happens while we're recording today.
Yeah.
So once we put the footings in, then there's going to have to be some other destruction that's going to have to happen as well.
Yeah. Before we even get to the footings, we're tearing up storm lines, and then we'll start to construct that back, tie we'll still have to tie in the new sanitary from the new clinic. There's quite a bit that goes into it that still has to be done.
Yeah. In your opinion, Matt, what's been the most difficult or complicated aspect of what we've done? I don't think anything is all that difficult or complicated, but we have had a couple of delays in what we've been working on.
So the sanitary structure itself, I think it was 20 foot deep. So, and digging that on a side hill was challenging. We've had a little bit of weather, not really too much. I think getting out on site, really first starting to get going and getting kind of a flow is always an issue. Everything looks good on paper, you're used to looking at the drawings, but when you get out on site, there's things that are missed, or the drawings are really good, but it doesn't give you the real world scenario.
Well, it's pretty typical, right? So if you can't see it, if it's hidden in some way, whether it's underneath the ground or inside a wall or whatever it might happen to be, it's really difficult to be able to know what you're dealing with until you actually get there.
Yeah, right. Yep. It doesn't show the whole picture all the time.
Yeah, and usually it can.
Yeah.
Usually it can. My guest on the podcast today is Matt Foster. Matt is the superintendent from Graham Construction, who's working on the building expansion and remodeling project here at CCMH. I'm Don Linsman, your host for the Here's to Your Health podcast. And we're talking about next steps in the actual destruction and construction of what we've got going on here. So in the next month or so, Matt, what should patients be concerned about? I mean, I know that we're going to have to do some things in the North Drive. Are there other things that we should make people aware of when they're coming up here for their appointments?
Yeah, I think I would just pay attention to the signage, because we will be closing down drives here and there. So look for the signage, don't enter a construction area. September, we're going to be moving inside and doing some demolition on the inside. All those areas are going to be barricaded off, so the public will not have access to those areas, but there will be some noise. It will, it could be disturbing at times. We do our best to try and make sure that we keep it as quiet as we can, think of different ways to do something that's not going to disturb the public, but that's something to be aware of. Just trucks coming in and out of the site, just be very mindful when you're coming to the hospital.
And those temporary walls that you'll have to put up for part of the destruction and construction, I think people need to understand that those are going to be sealed, because we have to make sure that the hospital clinic remains a sanitary, safe environment.
Right, yes. We will seal all those up, and we have air scrubbers that we use to filter the air that's in our space, but our space will be contained from the actual clinic and hospital spaces. So we'll use air scrubbers, and we'll actually have particle counters that will count the amount of particles in the air to tell us if it's clean in the environment we're working or if it's dirty.
So as we close today, Matt, what would you tell patients who are coming up to CCMH? What would you tell them about the parking, the safety, those kinds of things?
I would ask for patience, I guess. We're doing all this to make everything better. So right now it might be a little painful, not really painful, but it might put you out a little bit. But bear with us, it will get better. The old saying is that if you're going to make an omelet, you got to break a few eggs. Yeah.
And so we're in that egg breaking stage, I think, here at CCMH on our project.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time today, Matt. Thank you very much for joining me.
Yep, thank you, Don.
My guest on the podcast today is Matt Foster. Matt is the superintendent on the construction project here at CCMH, and Matt will be here for a while yet, so we will be checking in periodically with him over the next few months, and we'll keep everybody apprised of the construction progress that we're making, and if there's anything we need our patients and families to know about accessing their care here at CCMH. I'm Don Linsman, your host on the Here's to Your Health podcast. Have a great day.